Today we're going to talk about posters, but what I wanted to start with is color. Color is really important in adding to the mood of your design. So just as the decision about a typeface or a font speaks to us, so does color. Colors have many symbolic associations all over the world and a huge impact on the mood and the way that people respond. This is sort of interesting. Colors and what they mean. So this is worth looking over again. But white, the meaning is sort of luminosity, celestial power, purity, innocence, heaven, sterility. Ancient cults often drape themselves in white to glorify the divine. Yellow, so for most cultures the sun is linked to yellow. What's interesting is yellow is hard to take in if there's too much of it. And red is a strong, strong color. Ancient myths, the earth is described as red. Blood, strength, fertility, hunt, crime, virility, danger, love. Purple is a prestigious color. It was reserved for the clothing of nobles, luxury, wealth, and sophistication. And part of that is because purple was very hard to make. Blue is the color of the sky, the sea. Usually it's peaceful, tranquil. And blue can also be cold and depressing. I think of hospital blue for that. Green symbolizes nature and can be calming, refreshing. People waiting to hear about, to be on TV sit in the green room to relax. Brides in the Middle Ages wore green to symbolize fertility, and dark green is considered masculine, conservative, and implies wealth. Brown, solid, reliable, color of the earth, abundant in nature, implies genuineness, and brown can also be sad or wistful. And black, another very strong color, authority, power, submission. Priests wear black to signify submission to God. And the concept of the dark and all of its lurking dangers is just etched deeply in human consciousness. So here's a chart, color and mood. So if you have harmonious colors, which mean colors close to each other on the color wheel, like these two or these two, you feel more sort of harmony, versus if you take two colors that are opposite each other on the color wheel, that creates a contrast or tension. So if you want a very strong layout and you want to put, purple and yellow next to each other, you get this very bold contrast. If you want something more mellow, you might want to put these oranges next to each other. So this is saying this is harmonious because of the similar intensity, but I would just say this is a strong contrast because you've got the yellow and the red against one another. It gives a bold impression. I wanted to put this in here because you get these soft colors that harmonize with the dark figures, but also because, do you see this black photographer right here, the type in black? This sort of balances these women. If this black type wasn't here, these may not pull together, this yellow area and this. So this black sort of moves your eye over. This is a great image, Latin jazz. So you're contrasting the red and white. They stand out against that duotone photo. The duotone photo is made out of obviously black and yellow. And the text alignment works great with these dots to the left. And you've got this great photo with obviously the movement happening with this drum. And these little dots kind of create a lot of movement as well. So these dots plus the Latin jazz really work well with the photo. Some colors appear to advance while other colors appear to recede. Warm colors in general come toward the viewers, like reds and oranges. Cool colors move away from the viewer, like blues and greens. And complementary colors are full of vibrant tension. So those are the ones that are across from each other on the color wheel. So in this one, you think about what colors advance, Which ones recede? The same color can advance or recede depending upon what color it is placed with. And a lot of this you're going to do just by sort of intuition, trying things out. This is one of my favorite painters, Hans Hofmann. It's Hoffman. And he was considered a colorist. And these are very thick painted oil paintings. And as you can see, this thick, this square, which was probably done with a palette knife, really pops forward here, whereas the same orange over here recedes into the background because you've got this black in front of it. I just think that the movement in these paintings is incredible. There's often an alternating exhibit of his work at the Berkeley Museum, and that's on Bancroft, and I think it's downstairs they kind of change these paintings in and out. They're thick paints, they're really beautiful. This is, I just like the image and the use of type, inside Havana, and the word inside recedes to the background, giving this sort of perfect reflection of the meaning of the copy. So the word inside is inside, and if you notice, it's all lowercase, and it looks like it's italic, and it's red, and then Havana is white and all uppercase bold. So even these tiny decisions about whether to use all lowercase or all uppercase are important. They've also chosen a color that is within this photograph. So if you use your eyedropper tool in Illustrator and you choose from a color that is within the photograph and use that for your type, it pulls the composition together rather than just typing this in some garish blue or green or something like that. So when you use type and color, the legibility comes from contrast. So the greatest black on white you can read very well. The least is going to be yellow on white. And as the background color moves closer to the text like these, the legibility decreases. But that might be what you want because that's sort of a softer mood. This is something that I like to do, and for business cards, even packaging, it's sort of nice to have a percentage of the same color on top of itself. So if you have a brochure and you have like the entire page be black, but you just want one word to be a lighter black on top, then you would have this, you'd have to do it the other way around. I'm not so like this would be, 90 or 85% black, and then this would be 100% black. And then that way you're only using one ink, and it kind of looks like it's embossed, or not embossed, but like a varnish. And then you could put white type on top of that, and there's just sort of a nice contrast and a nice pattern that makes in the background. So in this piece, color is helping define and separate the items of copy. I think it's a bit hard to read because you have such a strong image with a lot going on here, and then these pieces of type on top. But you still can read this, and then this is by drawing some squares on top of it, or putting squares of the sky right here, and then breaking the text up and putting the text in areas on top of these separate squares. And then that sort of defines the areas of copy. In here, the color emphasizes a particular item. So you look at this, and then of course you see the red fish first, and then the eye moves down to just B. So immediately your eye is pulled into fish, just B, then you read the rest of it. So this is a great example of hierarchy because you see the red first and then you read the rest of it. And these fish right here are another clever way to sort of doubly emphasize that issue as a graphic, or not issue, but the illustration as a graphic. This one we've shown before. This is from the Blue Note Jazz album covers, and the design on these are often very Swiss because you've got the sans serif thick typeface always on a grid, lined up, and kind of a duotone in the back. And again, it's really worth looking up Blue Note album covers because you'll see some great design. I wanted to show this poster. This is Yale Repertory Theater presents Tree. So in this case, I wanted to show different colors of this poster. Sometimes what you might want to do, you put a poster together and you try it out in various colors, and the client may want to see various colors because they create a different mood. So this is the one, I think this is the one that was chosen in the end. But as you can see, so here we have it in much more sort of subdued colors, a collection of warm and cool grays, and it feels more urban. So this would attract a different audience than the first one, right? So the result of these colors is a restrained but kind of funky, edgy, yet warm, full of energy and contrast. Here's another color choice. So this feels more natural. There's not as much energy in this as there were in the last two. It sort of feels more restrained, more of an organic feel. And as you can see, like that color chart, these are hues that are sort of next to each other on the color chart. There's not a lot of contrasting color here. Much more subtle. So this would be attractive to more sort of down-to-earth viewers, whatever that may mean, but a particular viewer. This is much softer because it looks pastel. So again, it's a completely different feel, mostly warm pastel tones. So this paints this dance performance in a softer light. So this might attract the attention of a more sensitive, less hyperactive audience. I really like this one. This feels more world beat, if you have to name it something. Much darker than the original. The color schemes highlight the human and cultural relevance of the dance and performance. Colors are based on deeply saturated dyes and pigments used by cultures around the world. And all of this is intensified by using a black border. So that's a good thing to use often when you want to really have something pop, and that's often why we present things in design class on a black paper or black board, is to make your composition really stand out. So the question is, which scheme reaches the intended audience? You kind of have to know who is the audience, who are you going for, who do you think will be seeing this?